Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurul Syarahliana binti Muhammad Najib and I'm going to talk about the safety precaution in the UV. Firstly, it's about the exposure hazard to UV. It can be harmful even being exposed for a short time. The level of damage relies on the exposure time, the wavelength, the radiation intensity, and the sensitivity of the individual to UV. Exposed to UVC and UVB can cause sunburn and pigmentation. UVC is the shortest wavelength of the three forms of UV. The shorter the wavelength, the more harmful the UV radiation. However, UVC isn't able to penetrate Earth's atmosphere. UVB is the second shortest wavelength and the main culprit of sunburn. UVA is the longest wavelength, penetrating the deepest and causing the vast majority of UV radiation getting through Earth's atmosphere. UVA may lead to the formation of cataract in the eyes and can cause blue blindness. Long-term exposure can cause premature aging. Corneal absorption of UVB and UVC may result in the conjunctivitis and a corneal inflammation. Secondly is UV safety precaution. Avoiding exposure to UV source is the simplest safety precaution. The following are the safety measures to alleviate UV risk. First, use enclosed beam path wherever possible. Second, use a manual or electronic shutter to close the beam when the source is idle. Third, never look directly at the beam. 4. Restrict access to region using UV source. 5th, cover arms and necks and limit exposure time. 6. Wear protective eyewear and gloves. Lastly, post warning sign at the entrance to areas using UV source. Lastly, UV safety goggles and spectacles. They are made of hard, durable, non-UV transmissive plastic close-fitting side shield to protect the eyes from UV radiation. Second, the recessed lens are scratch resistant. Third, the goggles features a soft, flexible frame with adjustable headband. Fourth, screen ventilation port reduce moisture build-ups. And lastly, these goggles may be worn over prescription glasses with 50mm lens.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Safwan bin Mat Ali and I am from BEEY 12. My matrix number is B0820100313. So today I'll be presenting about PCB etching. So firstly, we have to know what is PCB etching. Etching is a part of the PCB fabrication process which is used to create the copper traces on the printed circuit board. This is done by removing the excess copper from the copper laminate, only leaving the required circuit on it. There is two types of PCB etching, which is wet etching and dry etching. Wet etching involves using liquid chemical or etchants to take off the substrate material. For dry etching, plasmas or etchant gases are used to remove the substrate material. Safety and precautions for during PCB etching when using chemical. So firstly, the basic rules for working with chemicals is don't breathe in fumes or dust. It is best to clean the etched metal underwater to avoid distributing particles into the air. Second, use disposable scrubbies or steel wool to clean your etched metal to avoid contaminating your good brushes, for example with chemical residues. More on chemical safety. The chemicals used to etch metal are called mordants. By nature, they are caustic. They etch through metal, yet for whatever reason, some people are extremely casual about their usage. Cupric chloride, ferric chloride or ammonium persulfate is generally used. After etching, wash the laminates carefully with clean running water. If washing is insufficient, residual iron may degrade electric characteristics, lower copper foil adhesiveness and discolor laminates. Ferric chloride solution is reusable for 2 or 3 times, after which it should be discarded.
Next, if you are making PCBs in a professional environment where time is money, you really should get a heat bubble etch tank. With fresh hot ferric chloride, a PCB will etch in well under 5 minutes, compared to up to an hour without heat or agitation. Fast etching also produces better etch quality and consistent line width. If you aren't using a bubble tank, you need to agitate frequently to ensure even etching. Warm the etchant by putting the etching tray inside a larger tray filled with boiling water. You want the etchant to be at least 30 to 50 degrees Celsius for sensible etch time. You also need to wear an apron while doing an etching. The etch hand will stain your clothes and anything else it touches. Good ventilation. Open a window if possible or run an exhaust fan. Never etch in a small enclosed space. Chemical fumes and gases that aren't noticeable in the proper setup can build to dangerous levels in a small space. Outdoors is a great place to etch, weather permitting.
Selamat sejahtera everyone, my name is Rachel Michael, matrix number B0820101142. Today, I'm going to present about safety and precautions during PCB etching. So what are the safety measures during PCB etching? For the first part, we must focus on our attire. First step, we must wear goggles or visors to protect our eyes. This is because the chemicals used are dangerous if splashed onto the user. Next, we must use gloves to avoid direct contact with the etchant. The etchant, which is the chemicals, which we usually use ferric chloride, is an acid. And as we all know, acid is very corrosive and irritating to us. Next part is during handling chemicals. For the first step, we must use plastic tongs to place PCB into tank. Do not use bare hands as the chemicals are dangerous. Although we have gloves on, it is best to have plastic tongs as an extra precaution. And for the last step is to use plastic or glass containers for the etchant bath. Why plastic or glass? It is because the etchant bath that we are using is an acid, and plastic or glass is not affected by the acid. So those are the safety and precautions during PCB etching. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Alifa and I will share with you guys about drilling PCB. So as we know, drilling is a third process in PCB making. Drilling is after we do the etching and before we do the soldering. So what are the things that I will going to share with you guys is some precaution when we do the drilling, and I will add on some tips for drilling. So we're going to start with the precaution first. So there are some precaution for drilling PCB. First one, examine drill condition carefully when setting or changing it. As we know, hole quality varies with the type of drill used. So when we do the changing the drill, we always to remember to watch the drill condition. Number 2, ensure that PCB is clamped or held securely so that PCB does not spin, because we don't want to causing an accident to our hand or our fingers when we do the drilling. Number 3, wear goggles when drilling in case the PCB shatter. We don't want it fall off into our face, and also we're going to avoid that shatters or pieces get into our eyes. So that why we need to wear goggles. Number 4, small drill below 1 mm should use collet. For your guys' information, small drill below 1 mm is quickly form a groove in the jaws and preventing good grip. So it's a good we can use a collet. So remember to choose the type of collet is metal, not the plastic one. So number 5, we need a good strong light on the board when drilling. So why we need a good strong light? Because we want to ensure the accuracy when we do drilling. So the good strong light is good for us. Number 6 is it be useful to raise the working surface 6 feet above normal desk height. So because for more comfortable viewing when we do the drilling. Next, lastly, note that fiberglass dust and drill swab is a very aggressive and also irritating to the skin. So remember to avoid contact with our skin. So next, some tips for drilling PCB. So firstly, the effective length for drill is 1 mm and above. Number 2, never use normal filler drill because it's inaccurate, dangerous and too slow. Number 3, always use a precision high speed, 15,000 to 20,000 RPM drill. Number 4, use a purpose-built PCB drill stand and not a general hobby drill stand. Number 5, if you're using fiberglass board, always use tungsten carbide drill. That's for me. Thank you.